Hey, my name is Philip Mandelbaum. I'm lead content analyst for Customer Engagement Insider. And today I'm going to talk to you about UX and SEO. Here it is, guys. SEO is dead. Just kidding. All right. So SEO isn't dead. That'll never happen. We need SEO. We need SEO to get people to our site. But gone are the days of cramming keywords into your content and sliding right onto the first page of a Google search. SEO may not be dead, but it's changed. Google's 200 ranking factors, I know they can be daunting, but there's no excuse for ignoring search engine optimization. In fact, it's more important than ever. There are at least 8 billion searches a day on Google alone. 75% of users don't click past the first page of results. That shouldn't surprise you. You probably don't either. I know I don't, unless I'm doing some serious research. Here's the good news. The most effective way to optimize your site and own the SERPs is no longer manipulating metadata. As Google Webmaster Trends analyst John Mueller puts it, all you have to do is make a good website that works well for users. Simple enough. In other words, good UX equals good SEO. What do I mean by that? If you're one of the 71% of marketers still targeting strategic keywords as their primary SEO tactic, you probably do need an explanation. Here it is. A brief history of SEO and UX. Listen, you're not crazy. For years, Google ranked web pages based simply on how relevant the page's content was for your query, as well as how trustworthy the site was overall. This was when Google's algorithms still centered around inbound links and keywords. That's not the case anymore. Unfortunately, many digital marketers and SEO experts abuse Google's guidelines, keyword stuffing thin content and their meta descriptions, titles, URL slugs, and even the image alt text. Some cloaked keywords and non-text elements on web pages, and they were rewarded with high-ranking results. Of course, actions speak louder than mission statements, and if a site's UX feels more like user exploitation than user experience, business becomes ripe for disruption. That's what Michael Schrage wrote in Harvard Business Review. Profitability predicated on customer friction, intrusion, and irritation simply isn't sustainable. No duh. Privileging easy money over better user experience is the antithesis of customer centricity. And that is why we're here, right? The title of Schrage's article is Why User Experience Always Has to Come First. And the reason, according to UX professionals like myself since the very beginning, is that high search rankings don't last if the content doesn't provide value. Though more users may visit your site, so what? They leave quickly, they're disappointed, they even feel betrayed by your failure to speak to their needs and goals. Needless to say, these users don't buy anything and they don't come back. If you're still strategizing for Google's original algorithm, you've probably noticed fewer and fewer visits to your site overall. This is a sign you need to catch up and continue to adapt alongside Google, which has already released multiple paradigm-shifting UX-centrist updates in the last 10 years. In 2011, Google released Panda. This was their first step to focus on quality and user experience. They launched it to eliminate black hat SEO tactics and web spam, which created a new ranking factor based on page quality classifications modeled after human quality ratings. This is important. The following year, Penguin was released, an extension and addition to the arsenal to fight this war against low quality. Penguin targeted spam and manipulative link building. Exact match domain happened also in 2012. It targeted low quality sites with exact match domains. Hummingbird in 2013, a huge advancement in Google search technology. It impacted 90% of all searches by introducing conversational search, human search, and voice search. That same year, Payday targeted spammy sites and queries. And in 2014, Pigeon changed how local businesses ranked in organic search. Mobilegeddon, that was 2015. Not just an algorithm update, but a cultural shift. This demonstrated Google's ongoing commitment to prioritizing mobile by downgrading pages not optimized for the mobile experience. Again, we're talking UX to make SEO. RankBrain, which happened in 2015, was a revolution in how search results are determined. It targets various behavioral metrics such as bounce rate, pages per session, click-through rate, and average session duration, and uses machine learning to better understand the likely user intent of search queries. We have to not only focus on, but track and base our next decisions, our iterations, and our optimizations on the right metrics. Fred in 2017 focused entirely on UX, targeting sites with deceptive or too many ads, little or low quality content, aggressive affiliate linking, and or disruptive pop-ups. Core Web Vitals last year put even more emphasis on UX with a narrower focus on bounce rates, session duration, and page views per visit. One thing Google hasn't done in the last decade: downgrade the value of incorporating the right keywords into quality content based on what your customers are actually searching for. Quite the contrary. Google still rewards sites that answer users' questions, address their pain points, and deliver products or services they seek. So the solution, again, isn't to forego your content marketing strategy. It's not to give up on SEO. It's to update your content marketing strategy and overall 360-degree marketing strategy to incorporate the latest UX and SEO best practices. As Shlomo Benartzi and Saurabh Bhargava said in Harvard Business Review, many organizations are currently undervaluing the power of digital design and should invest more in behaviorally informed designs to help people make better choices. In many cases, this is good news, guys. Even minor fixes can have a major impact, offering a return on investment that is several times larger than the conventional use of financial incentives or marketing and education campaigns. At the end of the day, we all need to survive. We all need to grow. We all want to outperform our competitors. If that's our goal, while of course focusing on customer centricity, makes perfect sense that something offering a higher return on investment is where we should put our dollars. If you're not convinced, here are some statistics that show your UX and SEO strategies need to coincide. As you can see, SEO remains critical to the success of your website. Search engines remain the starting point for 68% of online experiences. That's almost 7 in 10. Organic search drives 53.3% of all website traffic. Google Search, Google Images, and Google Maps account for 92.96% of global traffic, which means clearly we need to listen to what Google is telling us. The #1 organic position on a Google search results page can generate a CTR of 34.2%. That's click-through rate. Results on the second page of Google, they only receive 0.78% of all clicks. SEO can reduce the cost of customer acquisition by 87.41%. Organic traffic from SEO is more than 1,000% higher than organic traffic from social media. So clearly, guys, this is an important topic you can't ignore. In addition, a well-conceived frictionless UX design could raise customer conversion rates up to 400%. And nearly 9 in 10 online customers are less likely to return to your website after a single bad experience. 9 in 10. On mobile phones, where by 2025, almost 75% of internet users will exclusively access the internet, more than half will leave if a page doesn't load within 3 seconds. All right, what can we do? What can we do to improve UX and SEO? You got to audit. Got to see what you're doing now to see what needs to be changed. When you start auditing your site for UX, you'll be shifting your focus from pleasing search engines to pleasing humans. Believe it or not, it makes sense. Search engines aren't your customers, humans are. And it only takes them 0.05 of a second to form an opinion about your website. Needless to say, that means each and every page, homepage or blog post linked from social media, doesn't matter. It has to do the right thing. It has to focus on the customer. So get ahead of Google, optimize for your customers and the whole user journey, and then optimize for search. Let's look at Peter Morville's user experience honeycomb. As you analyze and rebuild your website for UX, think about your customers. What's your target audience? What are your user personas? What are their pain points? What do they need? What do they value? Today's consumers expect to be understood and appreciated by the brands they shop. They expect to not only interact, but personally connect with these brands. They're sick and tired of clickbait and other content that doesn't deliver. Aren't we all? They want intimate experiences and personalization. On a side note, if you need more and better customer data to know exactly what they want, consider a CDP. That's a conversation for another time. By following Peter Morville's user experience honeycomb, you can demonstrate your value proposition as well as your core values, showcase how your products or services solve a problem or provide a solution, all at the same time as improving your organic search rankings by improving all the KPIs, like your conversion rate, tracked by search engines today. Is your content, is your website useful? As practitioners, we can't be content to paint within the lines drawn. We must have the courage and creativity to ask whether our products and systems are useful and to apply our knowledge to define innovative solutions. Are we usable? Ease of use remains vital, and yet the interface-centered methods and perspectives of human-computer interaction still do not address all dimensions of web design. In short, usability is necessary, but it's not sufficient. We have to be desirable. Our quest for efficiency must be tempered by an appreciation for the power and value of image, identity, brand, and other elements of emotional design. Are we findable? This is SEO 101, guys. We must strive to design navigable websites and locatable objects so users, once they're there, can find what they need. And so Google, on the SEO front, can properly understand your website. When they crawl, they need to be able to identify how the site is structured. That makes a huge difference. Are we accessible? Just like our buildings have elevators and ramps, our website should be accessible to everyone. People with disabilities represent more than 10% of the population. Today, it's good business and the ethical thing to do to not think about only those who can see or who can hear. And eventually, this will become the law. I'm thinking globally. Are we credible? Thanks to the Web Credibility Project, we're beginning to understand the design elements that influence whether users trust and believe what we tell them. And valuable. Are we? Our sites must deliver value to our sponsors. Is the content we're creating the kind of content they're looking for? Are we being honest in our digital ads and our social media posts that are sending people to our content? Is our website providing value? Are there interactive experiences that allow users to tell you who they are, provide that first party and zero party data so that we can deliver truly personalized experiences? It must be the goal for for-profit companies to not only improve the bottom line, but to improve customer satisfaction. Okay, well, in practice, what does this mean? When we design for UX and SEO, it's obvious we need to make our site useful, usable, desirable, findable, accessible, credible, and valuable. But obviously, this is easier said than done. Again, you have to understand your customers and how your site performs today. Where have your customers found the most value and why? What pages and experience inspired users to leave and why? To gather insights on your customers, here are my primary recommendations. Use A/B testing tools and conduct usability tests to verify which site features drive the most conversions or keep users on the site the longest. The next step is employ and leverage the learnings from eye tracking technology. This will tell you where people are looking, what they're attracted to, where on the website people are moving their eyes, and most likely moving their cursors and clicking. Also, employ feedback widgets. They provide actionable insights based on user behaviors. Finally, offer incentives. Ask your prospects and your customers to participate in surveys and solicit feedback via your website and your email and social media marketing. When you make changes, you can then include them further and post to the world that you've made changes based on what your customers' needs are. And for what it's worth, you can do the same with your products and services. If you're taking customer feedback and making changes, that is the epitome of customer centricity. You should be advertising that. Okay. Now, how do we implement, test, optimize, and scale our UX enhancements? Here are 8 steps. Conduct a behavioral audit of the existing digital designs and identify the gaps. Review and identify the trends in your customer survey results. Develop new data-driven designs, emphasizing the end user throughout the design and development process. Develop a new or altered content marketing strategy that coincides with your overall marketing and website SEO UX strategies, considering funnel stage. Are they at the top of the funnel, a brand new website user who knows very little and may not even know why they're there? Or is it the bottom of the funnel where you're looking to convert someone from a lead into an actual customer? Target user personas. You should have developed these already. Who are your target audiences? What are their pain points? In other words, I'm upset by this. I can't achieve this. I need this. I'm having problems doing XYZ. Can your product or service address those pain points? Along with the pain points are their needs. What do they need to address those pain points? And their values. What's important to them? Are you demonstrating your core values so they can truly connect with you? People have said time and time again, and more so every year, that the more they can relate to the brands that they shop, the more likely they are to not only continue to shop those brands, but even promote them. And this is where influencer marketing comes in. Of course, part of step 4 too, logistically, you have to ensure you meet all of Google's webmaster guidelines. This should go without saying, but if you don't do that, Google's not going to recognize your site the way you want it to. The next step, solicit feedback throughout the design process. Share your mood board, share your storyboard, share your wireframes, share your mock-ups. You need as much feedback as you possibly can, whether that's from high-value customers, senior management, or the people who do the work every day internally. And then continually test the new designs and content against carefully selected control conditions. Keep a searchable results library of all these experiments so you can refer back. Then scale your winning designs and content approaches across your website. And the last very important aspect is you don't set it and go. You have to monitor, analyze, and iterate based on what? User behavior. Next, cross-check your changes with the following list of UX-focused website requirements. We may have touched on some of these earlier, but they bear repeating. Is your site accessible for all users? Is it optimized for mobile, also known as responsive design? Is your site speed optimized for mobile with AMP or accelerated mobile pages? Are all your pages optimized for fast loading? Do you have a well-organized information architecture and user-friendly navigation with smart pagination and canonicalization? Do you use breadcrumbs? If you're not familiar with those, look them up, related to schema. Do you have simple, consistent, visually appealing design? Do you use video and images? Do you use user interface elements, interactive elements like buttons, slider arrows, navigation bars, drop-down lists, message boxes, surveys? Do you have a homepage that clearly defines your brand, your values, and your offerings? And does it offer different pathways for different audiences if you have them? Are there clear paths for people to go once they've reached your homepage? Do you offer straightforward, valuable, and properly formatted content? Do you use tables of contents, titles, and headers? Critically important for Google crawling your page. Are there clear calls to action? Without them, people aren't converting. That's a promise. Have you streamlined your e-commerce, if that's what you offer? Do you offer easy access to support and contact options? Is there a person behind the chatbot? Do people answer your phone? Do you guys reply to emails? Is it easy to find access to that support, whether technical, sales, or otherwise? And of course, do you include all copyright and legal information? And finally, as it relates to SEO, these are my tried and true best practices for 2022 and beyond. And I promise, again, if your UX and SEO coincide and you follow these steps, you will see positive results. Number one, add structured data from schema.org and be sure to test it first. Doesn't work if it doesn't work. Register on Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools and submit your XML sitemap to each. Sign up for Google Analytics to track site changes and monitor your site's results against your KPIs. Identify your target keywords, including short tail, long tail, short-term, long-term, product defining, customer defining, and intent targeting keywords. And build a list of the target keywords as well as their easier, lower keyword competition score related keywords, at least until you build up greater domain authority in relation to your competition. Of course, you can't just make a list, doesn't do anything. You got to incorporate these keywords into the most relevant parts of your site, paying careful attention not to keyword stuff and not to use the same keywords on similar pages for similar reasons so they don't fight with each other in attracting attention. Sign up for SEMrush, my favorite, or Ahrefs or Moz to research, test, and monitor your keywords and rankings. Create short URLs, incorporating the primary keyword for each page. Add alt text to all images. Add outbound links to authoritative sites as well as inbound links to other helpful parts of your site. Make sure to no index, no follow any pages you don't want the search engines to crawl. Monitor your results against your KPIs using GA and practice ongoing keep, kill, refresh lists, deleting outdated or irrelevant content, keeping your best performing and most strategic content, and refreshing the content that could perform better with simple improvements or updates. In addition, continually monitor for and address Google crawl errors, broken links, and any Google changes to how they monitor for and demonstrate the validity of SEO best practices. And finally, build backlinks by guest posting, appearing on or in podcasts, radio, TV, and online publications. Do what you need to do to build your brand authority and also benefit from an SEO perspective by publishing your guest appearances back on your website. I recently wrote an article about UX and SEO. You can find it on customerengagementinsider.com. This article includes a number of links to actually get started on this work, as well as a massive list of UX and SEO key terms in case anything I've spoken about was unclear. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope what you've gained from this is an understanding that SEO is critically important, UX is critically important, and you need both, and you need to make sure they work together. Thanks again.